She said she was out with friends, but her Uber receipt showed my brother's address. The night starts ordinary. We eat late because Alina's shift ran over. She pushes her hair up with the back of her wrist and laughs at the way the cat keeps trying to fish peas out of her bowl. The window is open to the courtyard and the stairwell smells faintly like wet concrete and someone's cabbage soup 2 floors down. My phone is face down on the table to prove a point I never say out loud. I trust you. She kisses my cheek as she loads plates into the sink. Girls' night, she says. Breezy, like it's a thing that just happens without planning. Nastia's birthday. I'll crash at her place if it's late. She changes in the hallway where the mirror is better light. Pulls on those black boots with the worn heel. Fixes a tiny nick in her eyeliner with her nail. She takes the spare Metro card from the bowl by the door and then thinks twice and puts it back. I'll just Uber, she says, tapping her phone. Don't wait up. I walk her to the landing because the elevator sticks if you don't catch it. We do that awkward half hug in the doorway. She smells like laundry soap and citrus hand cream, and I tell myself that people who plan to lie don't leave this many small, lovely details behind. The door sighs shut, and her steps click down the stairwell, fading. The cat jumps into the sink. I fish him out, rinse plates, wipe the crumbs that multiply like they pay rent. When I sit, I turn my phone screen up, then feel stupid about it and put it face down again. I message my brother about a stupid meme he'd sent in the family chat. He doesn't answer. He never answers right away. He acts like every text is a subpoena. Time dilates in that way Friday nights do when you don't have plans. And suddenly the quiet means something. I put on a show, then pause it because I'm not listening. Then order more dish soap from a marketplace I don't like. Then cancel it because I remember we have a half bottle under the sink. Around midnight, I try to read. I make tea and burn my tongue because I'm not paying attention. The kettle clicks like it's trying to end the conversation. The cat throws himself against the balcony door and stares at the dark. At 2:14 a.m., my phone buzzes on the table. A single short vibration that doesn't feel like a message. It's the monobank push that always wakes me. A card charge. The banner floats on the lock screen like a boat in fog. Uber 231.40 hryvnias. Underneath it, because I'm the sort of person who taps more than I should, the email arrives with the receipt. Subject line. Your receipt from tonight's trip. I shouldn't open it, and I do. Details spill out in that sterile format. Pickup near Libidska. Drop off. Obolon. Perikna Street. Entrance arch. My brother's building has that exact phrasing in the address when you type it in apps, down to entrance arch. Because if you write entrance 3, drivers end up on the wrong side of the courtyard. It's like the city itself is winking at me. For a second, I squint at the card number because maybe she used mine without noticing. We've done that before. Number. It's her card. The time matches the charge. The tip. Neat. Round numbers she'd never pick when it's her money. And not a split. I set the phone down carefully like it's a hot plate. Then I pick it back up because my hands won't sit still. I stare at the tiny map line. The blue route cuts across the river and heads north. A neat curved vein toward my brother's errand of concrete towers. There is a version of me that texts her, right there. Hey, why did your Uber go to Terraces? But the version of me who exists at 2:16 a.m. is quieter and more cowardly. I text, you good? She leaves me undelivered. Then I open our chat again and type, and delete a dozen more things. I put the phone on airplane mode, as if that could pause the night, as if no more information could mean no more truth. I turn off airplane mode immediately because the silence is worse. The hours between 2 and 4 are a dishwater gray. I walk a circle from kitchen to window to bathroom to bedroom, like the apartment is a track, and my thoughts are a runner refusing to stop. Every explanation lines up like shoes by the door. Maybe she shared with someone. Maybe she went to pick something up for my brother, a favor she didn't think to mention because it was small. Maybe she pressed the wrong saved address. Maybe. All of them brittle. My brother's name sits in the center like a nail. At 4:03 a.m., I open his chat and scroll up not because I expect to find anything but to remind myself who he is. The last messages are me asking him to come to dinner 2 Sundays ago. Him saying work, me saying you can leave early, him sending a shrug emoji that somehow manages to be an insult. When we were children, he taught me to climb the back fence of our old building to cut through to the kiosk that sold cheese puffs. He'd go first and then turn to offer a hand and then snatch it away. A joke that always made me feel like an idiot. It's not fair to judge him like that. People grow, but some kindnesses are scaffolding, and when you strip them away, the shape remains. I fall asleep near dawn. Not so much sleeping as shutting off. The cat wakes me by standing on my chest. Light pushes around the edges of the curtains, the ugly kind that makes the dust look like it's got opinions. I didn't hear the door in the night. I check the hallway. Her boots aren't there. My phone is at 9%. 2 blue ticks under my 2:16 message arrive sometime after 7. She's read it and not answered. I make coffee too strong and too bitter, and then pour it down the sink and do it again. I tell myself not to jump to conclusions because there is nowhere soft to land. She comes in around 9:30, the door carefully quiet, the kind of quiet people use when they're trying not to wake you because they don't want to talk. Her mascara is smudged at one eye like she slept on it. Her hair smells like a stairwell that isn't ours. That blend of metal handrail, cold draft, detergent no one you know uses. She smiles like she's testing a mirror. "Hey," she says. "You're up." She kisses me, light, on the mouth, and for a second I ruin everything by leaning away. She feels it, straightens, puts the bag down. "Nastia's party went late," she says, and picks at a loose thread on her sleeve. Her neighbor complained. We were whispering like idiots. I nod too fast. The performance of normalcy makes my tongue clumsy. "I messaged," I say. "Yeah, sorry," she says, immediately, like she had the apology ready. "My phone died. I used a charger that didn't work. You know how it is." She walks to the sink, washes her hands for longer than necessary, shakes them, dries them on a towel she folds too neatly. "You okay?" she asks, turning, head tilted, like she's seen a dog do that. I don't ask the question that burns. Instead, I tell a small truth. "I didn't sleep much." She nods again, as if I've said something sensible. "Let me shower. I smell like smoke and whatever else was in that flat." She hesitates at the bathroom door like she expects me to stop her, and when I don't, she disappears into steam. The water knocks in the pipes like footsteps on a hollow stage. I sit at the table with the receipt open on my screen, the subject line bright like a wound. I zoom in and out, as if changing the size will change the content. The map is so certain of itself. I forward the email to my notes folder like I'm filing evidence, and I hate that word, evidence, because it assumes a trial. I hate the part of me that's already building timelines from breadcrumbs, but the part exists, and it has a ruler and a pencil sharpener. When she comes out, hair twisted in a towel, she smells like our bathroom again. I ask the question sideways. "How's Nastia?" "Hungover, probably." "Where does she live these days?" "Left bank," she says. No specifics, then adds one, Darnitsia. It's the kind of detail that feels like a gift until you notice how it's wrapped. I nod, because what else do you do in a kitchen where the morning light is rude, and the cat is licking the condensation off the window, and your chest feels like a locked drawer? She changes into a sweatshirt and sits on the arm of the chair and tells me a story about a cake failing to set and a neighbor who sings opera scales at midnight. The story is plausible, dotted with names I recognize, and the plausibility is worse than a blatant lie because it gives me places to hang my doubt. When she reaches for my hand, I let her take it, and she squeezes once, twice, like Morse code for stay with me, and I squeeze back because I am not ready to admit that anything is broken. She says she's going to nap. She kisses my hair and disappears into the bedroom, and I hear the bed groan under her and the sigh that might be relief or guilt or both. I take my phone to the balcony where the pigeons are holding their morning meeting on the railing, and the neighbor across the courtyard smokes in his undershirt like it's a uniform. The air is cool and sour and honest. I open a chat I swore I wouldn't. "Where were you last night?" I type to Terrace. Backspace the period, put it back in, delete the whole thing, write it again, simpler. "You around?" He comes online almost immediately. The three dots appear, disappear, appear. He types, "At work." Why? The blue cage of my brother's photo sits above the message. The same smug grin he uses for every passport application and family wedding. I look at the Uber receipt with its tidy map and its confident address. At the message that says, "At work," and I press my tongue against the back of my teeth until it hurts. Until I can decide what hurts more, what I think I know, or how easily he lies. I keep the receipt in my email like a shard of glass wrapped in tissue. I open it too often, then close it like I've done something wrong. For 2 days, I circle the subject, convincing myself it's paranoia. I watch her fold laundry and joke about the cat stealing socks, and I want to believe in the soft curve of her laugh more than I want to believe a line of text on a screen. But every time I blink, the map is there, blue, certain, unbending. By Monday, I can't hold it anymore. I ask casually while she's making coffee. "So, Nastia's place? Darnitsia, right?" She glances up, surprised at the question, then nods. "Yeah, why?" Her eyes flick down to the mug she's stirring. I let it pass, but later, when I check the route again, it doesn't fit. Darnitsia isn't Obolon. The map doesn't curve like that for any mistake. I start testing. I mention Terrace in passing. Something about Mom asking if he'll visit next weekend. Alina goes quiet, then forces a smile. "He's always busy, isn't he?" She says it too quickly, like she already knew where the conversation was going. That evening, I walk to his building. The entrance arch from the receipt feels heavier now that I stand under it. The intercom smells of metal and dust. The light above it flickers. I don't press his number. Instead, I wait. An old neighbor, Zoya, comes out with her shopping trolley. And when she sees me, she smiles that toothless grin of someone who remembers you as a boy. Your brother still keeps odd hours, she says, shaking her head. I laugh politely, but then she adds, I saw your girl here the other night. She looked nervous, poor thing. Didn't know the code. Kept fiddling with her phone until he came down to let her in. The air leaves me in one long breath. You're sure it was her? I ask, trying to sound casual. Zoya squints at me, then chuckles. Of course. Pretty eyes, long dark hair. Who else would it be? She waves and shuffles off, leaving me with the weight of her certainty. When I get home, Alina is on the couch, scrolling through her phone. I sit opposite, holding onto the armrest like it's an anchor. You went to Terraces the other night? I say, not asking, just stating. She freezes. Her finger hovers above the screen, then drops it to her lap. What? She says. Too light, too rehearsed. I know. I saw the receipt. And Zoya saw you. My voice cracks at the edges. Her jaw tightens. She exhales through her nose, sets the phone down, and finally meets my eyes. I was dropping something off, books for his ex, Ina. She asked me to. I didn't want to make it a thing. It sounds rehearsed, the way kids sound rehearsed when they claim they did their homework. At 2 in the morning? I ask. She shrugs, defensive now. It was the only time she was around. You're blowing this out of proportion. I want to believe her. God, I want to. But her story feels like scaffolding. Too neat. Ready for the moment. I retreat instead of pushing harder because I'm afraid of what I might uncover if I keep pressing. That night, I sit with my phone glowing in the dark, scrolling through Terrace's social media, through his tagged photos, through old messages. Nothing incriminating, nothing obvious. He's careful. Always has been. I type, we need to talk, come by. He doesn't reply. Hours later, he sends, busy, at work, the same words again, as if they're stamped. On Wednesday, trash bags overflow by his building. I walk by after work, restless. One slips open, papers spilling onto the sidewalk. I glance down, some stamped envelopes, late notices, and one with Alina's signature scrawled across the corner. My heart lurches. I pick it up before I can think. It's a loan agreement, a microfinance company, signed months ago. The borrower is Taras. The co-signer, the guarantor, is Alina. I stand there under the orange streetlight, the envelope damp against my palm, feeling the ground tilt. She didn't just stop by his place, she's tied to him on paper. She owes with him, and she never said a word. By the time I get home, my hands are shaking. She's in bed already, scrolling on her phone with the blanket pulled up. I hold the envelope out like evidence. What the hell is this? I ask, my voice breaking louder than I meant. Her face drains of color. She sits up slowly, sets the phone aside and stares at me. Where did you get that? Doesn't matter. Why is your name on my brother's loan? She closes her eyes, rubs her forehead, and for the first time since this began, she looks genuinely exhausted. Not just evasive. It's not what you think, she whispers. I laugh bitterly. Then what is it? Because it looks like you've been lying to me, over and over. Her hands twist in the blanket. He needed help. He said it was temporary. He promised he'd pay it back. I thought dash dash. You thought what? I snap. That I wouldn't find out? That you could just keep covering for him? Her voice cracks, small and sharp. I was trying to protect you. The words hang there, brittle, while my heart pounds like it's trying to escape my chest. Protect me. From what? From him? From her? From the truth that's now unraveling faster than I can catch it? And for the first time, I realize I might not just be chasing a suspicion of betrayal. I might be standing at the edge of something much darker, something that started long before that Uber receipt lit up my phone. I don't sleep that night. The envelope sits on the table like it's watching. The cat bats at the corner, and I shove it into a drawer, but I still feel it there, humming with all the questions I can't quiet. I keep replaying her voice. I was trying to protect you. And every time I hear it, my chest tightens. Because what kind of protection looks like this? By morning, I can't take it anymore. I wait until she leaves for work, then open her laptop. It feels like trespassing, but the guilt is drowned by something sharper. Her Telegram is logged in. I scroll. Buried among chats with friends and coworkers are older messages from an unsaved number I recognize instantly. Terrace. The tone is nothing like family. Demands. Short. Ugly. You promised. Need it today. 10,000. Don't screw me. Remember what you owe me. Some messages go back nearly a year. I feel sick, scrolling further until I see her replies. Hesitant, apologetic, sometimes refusing, then folding under his pressure. He sends her photos of contracts, screenshots of threats from creditors. And once, a line that makes my blood run cold. Don't forget what I've got. One word from me and your whole life crashes. I slam the laptop shut. My hands shake so hard I nearly drop it. At lunch, I call Inna, his ex. We haven't spoken in years. Not since she left him after one of his endless gambling streaks. She sounds tired, but when I mention his debts, she laughs bitterly. Still, he'll never stop. Always chasing the next fix. He borrows from anyone dumb enough to listen, and when that runs dry, he manipulates. Don't let him pull you in. I hesitate, then ask, did Alina ever help him before? There's a pause, then a sigh. She used to, back when we all hung out. One night there was something. He crashed a car, drunk, scared out of his mind. She covered for him. That's who she is, loyal to a fault. I warned her he'd use that forever. The floor seems to tilt under me. The missing piece slides into place, jagged and awful. That evening, I confront Alina again. I hold up the loan envelope, the laptop open to those ugly messages. You've been covering for him for a year. Why? Her eyes fill before I finish the sentence. She sits down, clutching her knees, and the words pour out like she's been holding them back for years. Because I was there the night he hit that car. He was drunk, and we swapped seats when the cops came. They thought it was me. He promised he'd pay me back somehow. But instead, he filmed it. Just a clip. Enough to ruin me if anyone ever saw. He's been holding it over me since the world narrows to a pinpoint. So every time you went to him, every loan, every late-night trip, it was because he was blackmailing you? She nods, sobbing now. I couldn't tell you. I didn't want you to look at me like this. I thought if I just kept him calm, it would end. I drop into the chair opposite her, stunned. My brother isn't just a liar, or reckless, or in debt. He's a predator, using her guilt as a leash. My phone buzzes on the table. A new voicemail from an unknown number. Against every instinct, I play it. Terrace's voice crackles through the speaker, sharp with mockery. Alina, you're running out of time. You know what I want. If you don't come through tonight, that little video goes public. Your boyfriend deserves to know who you really are, right? The room tilts. Alina covers her face with her hands, sobbing harder. But all I can hear is his voice, smug and poisonous, echoing in my skull. For years, I thought I knew what kind of man my brother was. And in 1 minute of audio, I realize I never even scratched the surface. And now I have to choose. Do I protect her? Or do I protect the blood that's supposed to matter more than anything else? But as his words replay again, taunting, the choice feels less like a question and more like a line I've already crossed. The voicemail burns in my pocket all day, even when my phone is on silent. I hear his voice in every pause between cars on the street, in the hollow echo of the stairwell. When I finally play it for Alina, she crumples like her bones gave out. She admits what I've already pieced together. That night years ago. The car, the crash, the police pulling up. Terrace was too drunk to stand straight. She had begged him to let her drive home, but he laughed, waving her off. When the blue lights cut across the windshield, panic lit up his face. He shoved the wheel toward her and hissed, "Switch with me, now." She didn't think. She moved. By the time the officer leaned in, she was in the driver's seat, pretending to fumble for papers. Terrace grinned in the shadows like he'd pulled off a magic trick. He filmed a sliver of it on his phone, just enough to twist into a weapon. She swore to herself she'd never let it matter, but he's been dangling it ever since, adding weight every time he wanted money or favors. I sit across from her as she tells it, my hands locked together so I don't punch a wall. You protected him, I whisper. She nods, tears cutting tracks down her cheeks. I thought it was one mistake. I thought it would disappear. I never imagined he'd... Her voice breaks. I couldn't tell you. I didn't want you to see me as part of it. I should be furious with her. I should be screaming. But the fury circles my brother like a predator. I text him once. We need to talk. No more games. And he replies with a laughing emoji. That's all. The next evening, Mom calls me. Her voice is clipped, strained. Leave your brother alone, she says without preamble. He's under pressure. He doesn't need you making it worse. The betrayal is so casual it stings worse than shouting. I ask her if she knows what he's done, what he's holding over Alina. There's silence, then a flat, families keep their business inside the family. She hangs up before I can respond. It all collapses at dinner 2 nights later. Alina tries to pretend everything is normal. She makes pasta, puts music on, but her eyes keep flicking to her phone like she's waiting for the guillotine to drop. At 9:14, it does. An anonymous envelope slides under our door. Inside is a USB stick, plain and black. We stare at it like it's ticking. I put it in my laptop. The clip is grainy, taken from the passenger seat of a car. Terrace's voice off camera. Quick, swap with me. Then Alina's face, pale, terrified, sliding into the driver's seat. The officer's flashlight sweeps across the windshield. The clip cuts. Alina covers her mouth, sobbing. I slam the laptop shut so hard the screen flickers. The silence after is unbearable. He sent this, I say. My voice doesn't sound like mine. He wants us to know he can ruin you whenever he wants. Alina shakes her head. He wants you scared. He wants you to think you can't fight back. I look at her. at the fear and exhaustion written across every line of her face. And I know she's right, but the truth hardens inside me anyway. This isn't just about her. This isn't just about me. It's about a man who has leeched off everyone who's ever loved him, who has turned family into leverage, who thinks loyalty means silence. I pull the USB from the laptop, grip it so tight the edges dig into my palm. No more, I say. And I mean it in a way I've never meant anything before. The decision to fight back doesn't arrive like lightning. It arrives like a slow dawn, shadows peeling away until the choice is the only thing left. For a day, I pace the apartment, holding the USB, replaying the voicemail, scrolling through the old messages until the bile rises. Alina barely eats. She sits at the table, twisting the hem of her shirt, whispering apologies that I can't stand to hear anymore. Finally, I say it out loud. We're not handling this alone. We're done playing by his rules. She looks at me like she wants to believe but doesn't dare. He'll just find another way. Not if we take away his leverage. That night, I call a contact I've barely spoken to since school. Lisov, now a police investigator. I don't give him everything, just enough. Blackmail, threatening messages, a video clip being used to extort money. He doesn't laugh me off. He tells me what can hold in court. Recorded threats, proof of payment, witnesses. He warns me too. If you want this to stick, you need to be ready for fallout. Family cases get ugly. The next morning, Alina agrees to help. She's trembling, but she nods. I'm tired of being afraid, she says. We set the trap. She messages Taras. I have the money. Tonight, meet me by the arch. My heart pounds as she types it. Within minutes, he replies, bring it. Don't be late. No excuses. We prepare like it's war. Lisov gives us a recorder, small enough to fit in her jacket pocket. He tells me to stay close but not interfere until they have enough. They'll be nearby, listening. I hand over a thick envelope filled with marked bills. Money I pulled from my account under Lisov's instructions. The edges feel radioactive. Before the meeting, I knock on the neighbor's door. Zoya, the old woman who saw Alina that night. She doesn't hesitate when I ask for the camera feed from her intercom. If it helps your girl, of course. She hands me a USB stick with shaky fingers, and for once, I don't feel alone in this. We get one more piece. I track down the Uber driver from that night, a man named Serhiy. He remembers her. She was quiet, kept thanking me, but she looked upset. He agrees to make a statement if it comes to that. It's another thread tightening around Taras. As evening falls, the plan presses down on us like a storm cloud. Alina clutches the envelope so tightly the paper wrinkles. I stand in the shadows by the courtyard, trying to look like nothing, trying not to explode. At 9 sharp, Taras arrives. He's not alone. Koval, a thick-set man with a shaved head, lingers by his side, eyes scanning the dark. My gut twists. This wasn't part of the plan. Alina steps forward, voice steady though her hand shakes. I brought what you wanted. Taras smirks. The same smirk he's worn since childhood when he thought he was winning. Good girl. See, you can follow orders. Koval grunts, holding out his hand. Taras leans closer to her and lowers his voice, not realizing the recorder is hungry for every word. You remember what happened that night. Who saved your ass? Me. Who's kept you safe? Me. Don't forget, you owe me. Always. The words hang in the air. Damning. He takes the envelope, starts to thumb through the bills, and that's when the shadows around us move. Lisov and 2 officers close in, flashing lights cutting the courtyard into jagged pieces. Koval curses, dropping the envelope. Taras's face drains of color, the smirk collapsing into panic. He shouts at me, "You set me up? You'd betray your own blood?" For the first time, I don't flinch. I step into the light, my voice steady. You betrayed us years ago. They cuff him while he thrashes, spitting every insult he can find, but the recorder in Alina's pocket is louder than his fury. Koval doesn't fight. He knows better. The envelope, the tape, the USB, the witnesses, it all piles up around them like bricks in a wall. As the squad car doors slam, the night is suddenly too quiet. Alina sinks against me, shaking. It's over, she whispers. But as I hold her, staring at the empty archway, I know it's not over. Not yet. Families don't break clean. There will be fallout, whispers, maybe even attempts at revenge, but for the first time, I believe we've stopped running. And for the first time, Taras looks small to me, just another man caught by his own lies. The squad car taillights vanished into the night, and the silence they left behind was almost unbearable. Alina pressed her face into my chest, trembling, whispering over and over, "It's done! It's done!" Like she had to convince herself. But as much as I wanted to believe it, I knew Taras's shadow wasn't something that could vanish in a single night. Family rot runs deep. The next day, Mom called. Her voice was cold, clipped, stripped of the warmth I remembered from childhood. "How could you?" she demanded. "Your own brother. Dragging police into this. Do you want to see him in prison?" I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles whitened. Do you want to know what he's been doing to Alina? What he's been doing to all of us? I told her about the loans, the video, the threats. There was silence on the line, long and heavy. Then she said the words that cut me deeper than Terrace ever could. He's still my son, and she hung up. For days, the apartment was quiet but tense. Alina flinched every time her phone buzzed, expecting another threat, another demand. But nothing came. The police had the recorder, the marked money, the USB with the clip, Zoya's feed, Serhi's testimony. They had enough to bury him. Then came the dinner. Mom insisted. We're going to sit down and talk like a family, she said, as if family had ever stopped him before. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Maybe a part of me still craved the illusion that something salvageable remained. The table was set like a holiday. Borscht steaming, bread basket in the center, the weight of tradition pretending it could hold us together. Mom avoided my eyes. Tara sat at the far end, free for now on bail, a smirk plastered across his face like nothing had happened. We ate in silence for a few minutes until he leaned back, arms folded, and said, "You think you've won, little brother? You think dragging me through the mud makes you better than me?" I stared at him, then pulled my phone from my pocket. "No," I said. "But I think the truth makes you smaller." I pressed play. The recording filled the kitchen, his voice demanding money, reminding Alina of that night, spitting threats. Mom's spoon clattered into her bowl. Terrace's smirk faltered for the first time. When the clip ended, the silence was suffocating. Mom's hands shook in her lap. "Terrace, tell me this isn't true," she whispered. He tried. God, he tried. But the words tangled in his throat. For once, the lies weren't enough. Mom broke. Tears welled, spilling down her cheeks. She looked at me, then at Alina, then finally at him. "Get out," she said, voice trembling but certain. I can't protect you anymore." He exploded then, hurling insults, knocking over his chair, spitting venom at all of us. But no one moved to stop him, not even Mom. He stormed out, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. And in that echo I felt the last ties snapping. The weeks that followed were a blur. Court hearings, statements, paperwork. Terrace's debts caught up with him. Koval turned on him to save himself. And the system finally had enough evidence to pin him down. Mom stopped calling. The silence from her hurt. But it was cleaner than the kind of love that demanded silence. Alina and I clawed our way back to something resembling normal. It wasn't easy. The trust had been cracked, the lies heavy. But she showed up. Every day, every conversation, every therapy session she insisted we both attend. She laid out every secret, every fear. And little by little, the weight lifted. One morning, months later, we sat on the bridge with thermos cups of tea, watching the Dnipro ripple in the pale light. The city was just waking, trams rattling in the distance. She leaned her head on my shoulder. "Do you regret it?" she asked softly. I thought about the receipt, the sleepless nights, the fights, the betrayal of blood. I thought about my brother's smirk and my mother's silence. I thought about the quiet now, fragile but real. "No," I said. "I regret not ending it sooner." She squeezed my hand, and for the first time in months, I felt like we were breathing the same air again. That night months ago, the receipt had lit up my phone like a warning. It had dragged every buried truth into the light. It had broken illusions I'd been raised to protect. But it had also given me something I didn't know I needed. Proof. Sometimes it takes a scrap of paper, a line on a map, to show you who people really are. And sometimes the only way to protect the people you love is to burn the bridge behind you, even if your brother is still standing on it.